Almost a century ago, Henry Ford recognized a basic principle of the then burgeoning American economy. People want to be paid for the work they do. Further, he realized that by paying more, he could attract better workers, make them happier, and ultimately make better cars that people would want to buy. So, in 1914, he raised employees' wages to $5 a day, almost double what they were making for him and much more than they could make anywhere else. In no time, he had his pick of the best employees who were producing the best cars in the country. Both he and his workers won. Although times have changed, the principle has not. Employers recognize that people want to be compensated appropriately for their work. Determining what is appropriate can be a challenge that falls at the feet of human resource departments, managers, and employees. Andrea Haran is the owner of a human resource consulting firm, Focus HR Consulting. She works with a variety of different businesses to, among other things, design compensation packages that will be the most beneficial to both the business and its employees.
When I first start working with a client, I try to sit down with the president or the owner of the company to understand their business, what they're about, and what their goals are. Where are they now? Where do they want to be in 6 months or a year or a couple years down the road?
Haran stresses that each organization she works with is unique, offering different challenges and opportunities when it comes to designing and implementing employee compensation packages. As an HR consultant, Haran must recognize those opportunities and use them to the organization's advantage.
I was working with an advertising agency that was having a problem with retention. Turnover was very high. People didn't see a career path. They didn't understand from their position where they could go to. So then it was to step back and say, okay, let's take a look at how we pay everybody. What should be like a nice, even grid of how salaries are paid was all over the place. It was a scattergram. I just had dots everywhere. You know, one position would have a dot here, here, and over here. It was just nuts. So it was like, well, this is the first thing we have to do is fix this. And in conjunction with that was saying, well, how do we create a career path? What we were able to do is first bring organization to the pay structure. You know, now people knew if you came in as the entry-level position, you get paid X. You're in this position maybe 6-9 months, then you're going to go to here. You're going to be in that position for about a year, and then you're going to go up here. And with each of these jumps, you're going to make, you know, 5,000 more per year or 10,000 more. You know, there were different intervals. So that in 5 years, you're going to get to this point. Now people are there for 5-10 years where you didn't see that before. They had that consistency. It just made everybody in general so much happier because they could see where they were going. When you look at compensation, there are 3 ways to pay employees: above market, at market, and below market. All 3 of those philosophies have their pros and cons. You pay above market rate, you get to be picky with who you hire because you'll get obviously a bigger pool of talent to pull from. But your challenge, or the cons, it's actually more of a challenge in this case, is if you do that, you need to make sure that not only are they qualified for that rate that you're paying, but that they're constantly challenged in what they're doing. You know, if after 2 months they're going to be bored because they've already learned everything, you can have a problem with people leaving because they're bored. At market is you're going to get people who are being paid fairly for their work. Just need to take some care in the interview process. Make sure you don't get somebody who's overqualified or underqualified, you know, when you're paying at market. Under market, and people do have a philosophy of under market, and it's done intentionally, is under market is usually used in positions that a lot of skill is not needed. You can train somebody in that position within maybe 30 minutes because it's very repetitive work. So you're not going to pay above market because or at market because there's no expertise needed. So you have a higher turnover, and it's okay because as long as that's what your philosophy is, and you can train somebody quickly, so it doesn't really affect the operations of the company.
Working with the advertising firm, Haran found that an important part of compensation and developing employee trust is demonstrating to employees that pay ranges are fair and equitable.
The easiest way to determine fairness and equity is basically comparing what the company is paying compared to other companies in the same industry of the same size. Salary surveys, tons of them out there. Some of them free off the internet, some of them you pay for, some of them are industry specific. If they're part of an industry association, they can get it that way. Trade journals. If you use recruiters a lot, they'll be able to help tell you, where you are in the market. Although recruiters, you have to take it with a grain of salt because, obviously the more you pay somebody, the more money that they get. So their motivation obviously is business related as well. Determining fairness and equity in pay ranges and broad banding is not that different from trying to figure it out from different jobs. But where you may have some differences is, do you only hire people that are in your industry? They have to have that industry background, or can you actually borrow from other industries? And if people can switch from another industry into your industry, with ease, you may have to make the ranges a little bit wider depending on how the other industries are paying. For an example, hospitality. Hospitality is hotels, restaurants, banquet halls, maybe even motels, small places. Is it a big chain? Is it a small chain, family owned? They're much broader ranges because all of those pay very differently. Communicating the fairness to employees sometimes can be a little bit trickier because when they look at pay ranges, it's all about what's in it for me. So you have to address those concerns. Is if you tell them that it's market-based, hey, you know what? Do you know other people who do this? Talk to them about what they pay. Go to the internet. The internet's a wealth of information. You can find out what is a reasonable rate of pay for your position. I'll let you know that the company has decided to pay at market, or we've conscientiously decided to pay below or above market. So when they look at that data, they're not saying, well, yeah, but people in the 95th percentile make this. It's like, yes, but we've decided to pay in the 50th percentile. So they make sure that they're comparing apples to apples, and their expectations are in line.
Another lesson Haran learned working with the advertising company was the importance of demonstrating a clear career path. Employees need to feel like they can progress within a company.
If there's a career path and there's certain pay for each of those positions, is saying, okay, look, you're starting here at an entry-level position. But when you get promoted to here, this is how much more you'll make. This next position pays X dollars more. So by the time you get here, and that should take you about 4 or 5 years, you will actually be doubling your salary. That's a great incentive because people like seeing where they can go and they can see that it's, okay, I'm not stuck in this job forever. Whether you're a service company or a manufacturing company, your payroll is your biggest expense. Because if you don't control it, it can sink you very fast. It's amazing how fast it can spiral out of control. If your compensation strategy is a scattergram that has no rhyme or reason, bottom line is your profit margin is going to be lower. And unless you're a charity or a non-for-profit, that's an issue.
Solid compensation practices are key to the success of any organization, and human resource departments and employees are at the heart of designing and implementing such practices. By bringing to the table an expertise in the philosophy behind successful compensation strategies, human resource departments, managers, and employees are a vital component in the well-being of an organization. Because, as we can see, Ford's ideas from a century ago still ring true today.